What's up, Scorpio? We are here with a timeless reading for you. In the pre-shuffle, I was seeing Justice and I was also seeing King of Swords. We're starting off with Eight of Swords. And the Emperor. And Wheel of Fortune. This can be a big shift that you're in the process of. You can be figuring out when you're in a situation that challenges you, in a way that feels challenging, in a way where it can feel like there's a weight of responsibility on you, or that you're just figuring out something within your adult life that challenges you in some way. You may not know automatically what to do. It's something that you're figuring out. It's something that you're in the process of learning through. You can also feel like the stakes are kind of high in this situation. When we have the Emperor, it does speak about a weight that we can feel moving through something, knowing that we need to be self-reliant. And even though the Emperor would indicate that you have sort of earned this position at this point in time, at the same time, you can feel like, well, I don't know everything. I am still figuring these things out, and something's going on right now where there can be a bit of a learning curve. There can be some changes that are going on, and you can feel like some of it is in your hands, some of it is not in your hands, and finding your way through that type of process where it can feel like this is a big, important thing, and you're trying to figure out things that are connected with your life. And I think zooming out in a bigger way as it's connected with your life and what's going on. And these types of things can be anxiety producing sometimes, or it can be nerve-wracking sometimes. Just because of feeling like it can be big stuff that you're moving through, or it can be kind of intense at times. More than anything, I think it's just that this is something that really matters to you, and that can be where this comes from. Like, it's kind of on you. And you don't know where things necessarily are going to go. And having to work with that, sort of the changing nature of things, and work through things feeling unsure at times. And stuff that still needs to be worked out that you're processing through. I get this feeling looking at the Wheel of Fortune. So Wheel of Fortune is when the direction of things change, for the sake of this reading right now. And so there can be a part of you that looks at that and feels like you need to be kind of guarded because you don't know which way things could potentially be turning. And at a time like that, when you can feel like you have to be sort of on guard because you know that things are taking place, you know that stuff is happening, it feels like looking at an action scene and not knowing what's going to happen, but you know something is going to happen, and then feeling this thing within you come up saying, like, what kind of thing do I need to be prepared for as stuff is taking place, as stuff is unfolding. And you can also feel like at some points all you can do is stand by and watch what's happening, and it can be stuff that for some reason it feels triggering. I think it's more the ambiguity than anything, and I feel too like because things don't feel set in stone, again, just emphasizing the ambiguity of things and the lack of assurances, maybe that you can have a feeling as sort of having to be on a bit here and paying very close attention and sort of speculating as well. And that can feel tiring, I think, mentally more than anything, because I do get this feeling of, yes, in some ways you do have a hand in what's going on. In other ways, I feel like you don't. And that part of you that's like, I just have to do what I can here in this situation. It doesn't feel like a particularly comfortable situation to be in. And it can be something that at times you feel kind of stuck. At times you can feel like you don't always know what to do when you're showing up. And even though it's something that you're figuring out, I think just the anxiety of being in a situation like this can make it harder for you to feel kind of free flowing in the process. You also want to make sure that you're making the right moves for the right reasons. We have the devil popping out. I just want to clarify. Okay. Whatever this is with the devil, which is something that you can be caught up in a way that you don't really want to be, and you're in the process of liberating yourself from that. I'm seeing that that's what's going to happen. The Chariot is clarifying the devil, which means that it's something tricky that you're working with right now. However, you're in the process of figuring it out. And these can be like actually some pretty slow steps that have to be taken. But I'm also seeing things going on too where I feel like there's something hanging over your head a little bit here where it feels like certain things haven't taken place yet, and so there are other things that can't be done right now, and that part of things can have you feel unsure sometimes of where to step, I think. So we are looking at Aries. I'm also hearing Gemini. I'm seeing Aquarius. Cancer clarified, the devil, and we also have Capricorn. And the moon. Okay. We have Eight of Swords and we have the devil. When we have this energy, it can feel kind of like something has a hold on us and we can feel kind of stuck because of that. It's like being a little bug that got caught in a web and trying to find your way out of it. And even though it is possible, it's kind of a sticky situation to be within. So that's happening. Then having the Emperor and having Knight of Pentacles, this is about taking control of things and knowing that the Emperor is an energy that can actually handle the devil. The devil is that thing that we get stuck within. It is the web that we get stuck within. But the Emperor is that part of you that knows how to get out of that. That knows how to remove yourself. That knows how to put things back in your hands and under your power and control. And having the Knight of Pentacles feels like the way that would actually be done, which are the very practical kind of slow moving steps that would be taken, but that you do make progress over time. This also means too that this isn't just a quick fix type of situation. This is something that is gonna be a more terminal solution if you're willing to do the work. And that you don't, I feel like this depends on what's going to happen here. Like, is this something that you're going to put in the work and then you take back the control? Or is this something where you're like, no, I can't do it, and then you stay in the web? What's going to be happening here? And it feels like that's kind of the thing that's undetermined right now. that's sort of what's hanging in the air right now. And that can also be where some of this anxiety is coming from, where you can feel kind of stuck, because you can still be in the process of figuring this out. It just feels like certain things haven't fully come into play yet. And so there's that feeling of knowing that, of like not everything being out on the table, working with what you can and what you do have in the situation, knowing more is going to be happening, more is going to be unfolding. There are more pieces that you're going to be working with. Right now, all you can do is take the pieces that you have and put them where they're supposed to go, and that's just all you can do for right now. I'm also seeing too that there's a new chapter that's being worked on. It feels like this is about being cooperative with what's going on, and this can be a healing process that you have to work within as well. When I say have to, I mean this can be a healing process that you are working within. There can be a collaboration that's involved in this of some sort, where it feels like there's a guiding in the direction of the life that you want to be leading. At the same time, it can feel like there are a lot of things in the mix emotionally, and there can be some anxiety and there can be some fear that's involved too. And I think also this feeling of when not everything feels clear and known and sure, I feel triggered by that. And so there can be stuff going on that pops up where you can feel like your faith is being tested. Because when you feel like something for sure, you don't know if it's going to work out or not, or you're like, well, if I take the steps to heal, like what if this happens instead? And then like it feels like there can be a part of you that wants to be assured of something, and then there's another part of you that's saying, well, we have to do this regardless. And I think working with that part of you that maybe wants to be assured of things and may not be open to a process where it's like, I think that this is going to benefit you either way, no matter what it is that you're doing here. And at the same time, there can be a part of you that feels like you have certain blocks for certain reasons to keep you protected, because what if you really allow yourself to be one with the process, to cooperate, to have faith, and then what if something happens that you don't want to happen, and then you should have been protecting yourself, and then you feel like, well, it would be your ego anyway. Your ego would be like, I should have kept that wall up. And so it can be something that you're still working with. And I do think that there's a practical side to this, yes. There's a willpower side to this as well. There's an inner authority side to this too. And also there's a little bit of faith here that's involved in the process. There's a little bit of following your North Star here. And I think there's a part of you that feels like you're still working through some stuff mentally. Like I'm definitely seeing something where you can still feel actually protective of yourself on an emotional level. You can even keep certain things to yourself as well. Like this can be sort of a little bit of a secretive energy at times where you're not putting everything on display. Even though I am seeing this new chapter that's happening. This feels like when you go through an upgrade within your life, it can feel kind of scary. It feels almost like going through a portal where something is upgrading, and just the anxiety that's involved in that, because change is connected with it and growth is connected. It's not always comfortable. And at the same time, this is something that's, I think, getting you more connected with yourself ultimately, but what you can't really do is micromanage and control, and that may be something that you do when when you're not feeling safe, and working with a part of you to figure out like why you're feeling so triggered. Because this feels like things that you can do, habits that maybe ease something that needs to be looked at more closely so you can understand it. Maybe there's some type of bypassing that's been going on. You can be taking a closer look at that. This feels like healing something that you can feel like has a grip on you. Because with the devil, it's going to be something that you feel takes a hold, where you feel like something else is running me. It's not me right now, it's something else, and you can feel the grip that that has on you. But then having the star here, this looks like something that's being healed. And this can be stuff that you get involved in that ends up taking control, where you feel like you're not the one behind the wheel anymore and something else is sort of driving you, but it doesn't feel like a deeper part of your soul. It can feel like it comes from somewhere else, and working with that. And this is ultimately going to come back to fear, separation, wounding, trauma, these types of things, and ways that we so-called deal with it. Better ways that we deal with things, ways that we bypass dealing with things. And so this feels like it brings up all of your deep stuff that can feel like the most difficult things to get a grip on. Working with those most challenging things and swapping them out for something better. So you go from the devil to the star, which is, I feel like I'm controlled by this, to feeling absolutely, totally, completely liberated, and like your story becomes your own again and not centered around things that aren't actually the point. So you are going through a release currently, so these things aren't going to have that hold on you, but there's a having to work with those things. And these can be patterns that you want to not be involved in anymore, because it can be stuff that you feel like it's not that real deeper answer that you're looking for. And so you can look at it and say, as much as I can keep playing around with this, I feel like something isn't truly being resolved. And it actually can be. It's just going to take some allowing for some changes here. And there can be that part of you that's like, well, this feels confusing at times, or this is uncomfortable, or what's going on, or like I don't already know this and have it figured out. That part of you that feels that way, a little bit bewildered kind of, is the feeling I get from that. You may feel really uncomfortable when that comes up. Because I'm seeing Five of Swords look sort of like the reaction to that. And so that can be when the wall goes up. That can be when the guard comes on. As soon as things don't feel solid, sure, you know what's going on, clear, that can be when that part of you comes up and the receptivity sort of disappears. And so how do you stay open through a process that can feel very uncomfortable, confusing at times, and can feel like you don't always know what's going on and you're figuring it out and things aren't necessarily assured? Maybe the things that you're looking for to be assured at times, or the things that you may even be convincing yourself, these are the important things that I need to know, yet for some reason aren't known as you go through the process. I do feel like you are giving yourself a new chapter. Like from you to you, you're giving yourself a new chapter here, and it feels like this is an offering to connect more deeply with your moon energy, which is like really you at your core. The way that you think, the way that you feel, what's going on in the inner landscape. And so I feel this sense of deeper interconnection that this chapter is about. So this means it can be a chapter of increased intimacy. It can be increased emotional awareness. It can be increased connection. Anything where your heart and your soul would be involved in a matter, your relationships and whatnot, the things that you love, the things that you care about, your soul's journey. This is something this is going to be a new chapter for that part of yourself, and that's what this is doing. And you can also feel like this is clarifying a big portion of purpose within your life as well. And that's what this is about too. And I think that this is going to be a really positive change that's happening here. It's just a matter of like how open you are to this. Especially when stuff is coming up that feels scary or that feels like you have to break out of the web. And seeing that Four of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck, I do feel like this may challenge you to, like, you're not always going to be in control. And so the more rigid you are, the harder this is going to be. I feel like you're going to benefit moving through this process, and something that it's going to challenge you to do is to let go of old ways that you no longer need, that you're growing out of. Seeing the Devil and seeing the Seven of Cups here, I do feel like there can be some stuff that can be throwing confusion into the mix, but it feels like because of still being connected with a web that you're in the process of disconnecting yourself from. And once that happens, it feels kind of like you have your autonomy back. And that's part of the process as well. And you may even resent the web. You can be stuck in the web and feel resentful of the web or feel like a type of way about it. Once you get disconnected from it, it feels like there's going to be a shift that sort of changes an important aspect of this process, and it makes things easier and you'll feel more clear too. All right, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting. I saw 2220 on the time when I looked up. I'm sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.